So it's the next day, and I can still smell the ginger and salt notes on this little piece of tester strip. That's crazy. Welcome back, everybody. This is Reviews and More, and we're back with a Marine Accord fragrance from Issey Miyake called La Selle d'Issey. It's an EDT formulation. They have a new EDP formulation out, but I didn't get that one. I've actually already smelled this one because I got a Macy's sampler and I fell in love with the fragrance. I was like, oh, this is right up my alley. I love marine, beachy, ocean vibe kind of fragrances, and this one is no exception. So I'll give you the little thing right here, and before I do that, I'll go ahead and do my little plug. Please hit the like and subscribe button, as it does help out the channel. All right, so first we got the power of salt, the infinite scent of movement from the sea to land, a vibrant salt accord enhanced by intense woody notes. So what does that actually translate into according to Fragrantica and other locations? It's sea salt, ginger on the opening, middle notes of seaweed and vetiver, and base notes of cedarwood and oak moss. So I'm getting a kind of salty, woodsy vibe, which is not too far from the description on the box. So let's pop this thing open. Picked up from Joma Shop, 100 ml bottle, $54. I got an order of 3 up to $100, so the shipping was free. So nothing too crazy there. Pretty minimalistic box, but I think that's pretty standard for Issey Miyake. Let's check out this bottle. Ooh, it's kind of a honking bottle. It's a big bottle. Kind of tall. Tall, classy, simple. Got a little concave thing at the bottom there. There we go. Any indication when this thing was bottled? Does not seem to show. Made in France. Yada, yada, yada. Nothing else really there. Okay, so let's pop off the cap. Get a little test strip out. As always on this channel, what I do is I test on paper, give basic impressions, test on skin, see if there's anything really changing about that. On this one in particular, I don't suspect I'll get much change. Maybe the ginger note might be more pronounced on my skin, but that's just my prediction. Bam, oh, there we go. Oh, good atomizer, puts out a good bit of juice. Oh, it smells so good. It's ginger and salt in the opening. It's so nice. Very, very fresh opening. This is a great summertime fragrance just based off that alone. I'm interested to see what the seaweed note kind of smells like. I imagine it's gonna be just salty and a green kind of mixed together. That's kind of what I expect out of it, but we'll see. I've definitely eaten enough sushi and seaweed salad to know what that tastes like and smells like. I don't think it'll be like that because that's kind of on the sweet end of things. Oh, it's just so nice. That's just a fresh, clean, salt marine kind of vibe going on to it. I love it. Let's try on skin. Now after we test it on skin, we'll come back a few hours later after I kind of do a little bit of overspray on myself, and then we'll say how long it lasts, the sillage, the longevity, just how well it projects, all that fun stuff, and we'll talk about that. So on the skin, same deal, but I was right. The ginger is a little more pronounced on the skin. The salt note is not quite as strong, but it's still there. It's still definitely, whereas on paper, the salt note kind of predominates. On skin, it's a even mix of ginger and salt, at least on my skin's pH. All right, so we'll jump back in a few hours and we'll talk about what the longevity and all the other various elements to the fragrance are and what the other notes end up smelling like as time goes on. So time for me to overspray a little tiny bit and maybe work out a little bit, and then we'll come back. All right, we are back and we have experienced the full dry down. I can tell you about the projection and the sillage and if it's got some push to it and longevity and whatnot. But let's go ahead and talk about those those heart notes, middle notes, and the final dry down base notes. First of all, that salt ginger lasts for a good while. I'm extremely impressed by the longevity, just in general, of every note as it transitions through. For an eau de toilette and EDT, this is a very, very long-lasting fragrance. So hats off to Issey Miyake just for that and making that happen with a fresh scented fragrance. Ginger goes on for a good while. Again, very bright in the opening, super marine with those salt notes. The middle note of seaweed and vetiver. So the vetiver, that is what it is. I would say it's more of a kind of a background note. I would not put it being like, oh man, it's like a vetiver bomb once that those opening notes go away. It really isn't. It's just kind of that dry, woody kind of back note. It's kind of in the background, it's there. It just makes the whole thing kind of a little more crisp, if that makes sense. That's what it kind of does. Same with the cedar wood in the base. The vetiver kind of leads into that cedar, it's just a little bit of like sourness to it that cedar can have, and it's just there to kind of make it a little more crisp to go with that oak moss. But what's interesting is that seaweed note, and I didn't know what to expect about it. I grew up at the coast, so I know what seaweed smells like. I'm used to like the flotsam coming up from the ocean, and like you go out on the beach and there's just like seaweed everywhere, and it does have a distinctive smell. And I'm not talking about like the rotted like fish smell. That's not what I'm talking about. Seaweed it's the best way there is no other smell like it. It is truly unique. So they used it as a note isn't really fair to people who haven't done it, but it's pretty close to being photorealistic to what seaweed smells like right off the ocean floor, or like right on the beach when it washes up. It's obviously salty because you get like the salt air from the ocean, and then you get this interesting semi-sweet green. It's just barely there. There's just a touch of sweetness to it. It's very interesting what they were able to accomplish and how close they were able to get to it. Now that's just a seaweed smell. It just comes out. It's a very, very unique note, and it's kind of cool they got it. It makes sense that it's from a Japanese designer, because they would experience it quite often, being Japan being an island. So very cool overall. As far as the fragrance goes, for under 60 bucks, this thing was $54 on Joma Shop for a 100 ml bottle. It's an EDT concentration, and this thing lasts on on this paper. It's been hours. I can still smell the ginger on this paper. It goes and goes and goes. I'm very impressed by it. Overall, excellent fragrance. Super, the projection, I would say good projection for about 2 hours, honestly. Arm's length after that goes down to a skin scent by hour 8. But for an EDT, that's amazing. If you think about how long it lasts on clothing, on paper, on hair, it hits that 8-hour mark, and it really does kind of let you just smell nice when you're walking by. It has the marine notes kind of stick to it, even though there's the base notes of oak moss and cedar wood are there. You do still get that marine note to carry through for quite a while, which I was really impressed by, because most of the time marine note fragrances tend to be kind of short-lived. They go and they really smell great. They push for about 45 minutes to an hour, and then they kind of level off into those other middle and base notes. This one, it always kind of keeps that saltiness, even when the seaweed note comes in. It's a salty, sweet green, kind of aquatic. Then even with the cedar and the oak moss, it's still there, but it's still a little bit salty. They somehow keep that in there, and it's just overall a very impressive fragrance for the cost. It is a budget designer fragrance. It does just a great, great job. I'm very interested to try the eau de parfum version of this eventually, somewhere down the line, but just based on what I've experienced with this is probably going to be one of the easiest reaches that I have in my collection for the summertime. It's just excellent, makes me think of the beach that I grew up on, and it's awesome.